channel Rajni Sir's Chemistry Tutorials. Today we are going to study some basic concepts of chemistry. Here we'll study only few laws like law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, law of multiple proportion, law of reciprocal proportion and equivalent weight. So let's get started. So let's get started with law of conservation of mass. This law was given by Lavoisier, who is also called father of modern chemistry. During a chemical reaction, mass neither gets increased nor it gets decreased. This law states that during a chemical reaction, mass remains conserved. Mass never increases nor it decreases. Okay, so let's see what happens during a chemical reaction. The law states that during a chemical reaction, total mass remains same. Total mass remains same. That is, total mass of reactants is always equal to total mass of products. This is a fundamental law of chemistry. Mass will never increase nor it will decrease. Total mass of reactant will be always equal to total mass of product, and it is not only that it is applicable in only few reactions, but it is applicable in all reactions. So let's see few examples to understand that. Example 1. Here, if I take carbon plus oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. If I am taking carbon's mass, that is 12 gram, then I require total 32 gram of oxygen so that it will get completely reacted, and then it will form here 44 gram of carbon dioxide. Whenever you take 12 gram of carbon, you will always have to take 32 gram of oxygen so that none of the reactant will be left after the reaction. All the reactant will get completely consumed. So after the reaction, you will be getting only carbon dioxide. If you take the total mass of carbon dioxide, then it is coming 44 gram. If I try to find out total mass of reactant, so let's see what is the total mass of reactant. Total mass of reactants, that's equal to 12 plus 32, that is 44 gram. Total mass of products, only one product is there, that's why I'm not writing products. So product, so that is 44 gram. Okay, so here you can see that total mass of reactant is equal to total mass of product. Total mass of reactants is equal to total mass of products. So law of conservation of mass is proved. Let's take one more example where also I'll try to show the same thing. You can take any reaction, it does not matter which reaction you are taking it. Take any reaction, whatever you want, whichever reaction you want, you can take it, no problem with that. Just what you need to show is that your reactant and products are supposed to be written properly. All the reactants and products coefficient should be proper so that the reaction will be balanced. After balancing the reaction, you have to find out total mass of reactant and then check with the total mass of products. You will always find the total mass of reactant is equal to total mass of products. Okay, so let's see one more example. Example 2, second example we'll see. Let's see second example. here hydrogen I am reacting with oxygen so that it will form here water. First of all, you should know that the reactant is hydrogen and oxygen and product is water. So first of all, you should know the reaction properly, that what reacts and it forms what. Second thing what you have to understand is that your reaction must be balanced. If your reaction is not balanced, then everything will go wrong. So that is why the main concept in chemistry is that all the reactions must be balanced. Whenever you are not balancing any reaction, that means you are not following the first law of chemistry, that is law of conservation of mass. In case of if your reaction is not balanced, your law of conservation of mass will not be valid over there. For those reactions which are not balanced, this law of conservation of mass does not hold good over there. That's why first of all you need to balance it. So here oxygen is here 2, here it is 1, so I will put it here 2. But now the hydrogen's number becomes 4, so I'll put it here 2. If you want to write the states of the substances, you can write. If you don't want to write, you don't write, doesn't matter. Okay, a state of substance does not matter over here. What matters is what is the reactant, what is the product, that you have to write it properly, and your reaction has to be balanced, that's it. Okay, so if I'm trying to find out mass of hydrogen, then atomic mass of hydrogen is 1 gram. It is actually 1.008 gram, but we are not going to calculate in that much detail. So we can just write it here 1 into the number of atoms, that is 4. Oxygen's atomic mass is 16 and you can multiply it by 2. So this is, and the mass of hydrogen is here 2 into 1 plus 16 and it is multiplied by 2, so you can also multiply this by 2. Now I have to check the total mass of reactants. So total mass of reactants is equal to 4 plus 32, that is equal to 36 gram, and total mass of products, is equal to 2 plus 16 into 2, that is equal to 18 into 2. That's a 36 gram. So again you can see that total mass of reactants is equal to total mass of products. So again it is proved that total mass of reactant is equal to total mass of products. Total mass of reactant will be always equal to total mass of product. You take any reaction, it is going to hold true. So that's it about the law of conservation of mass. This was given by Lavoisier. Scientists name generally they don't ask. If you want to remember, remember it. Don't want to remember, forget it, doesn't matter. What you need to remember is the law and its application. Thank you. Now we'll start the next law. So next law will be your law of definite proportion. So we'll see what is in law of definite proportion. Law of definite proportion, which is also called law of fixed proportion. Which is also sometimes called law of constant proportion. Constant proportion. All three are same thing. You call it law of definite proportion, law of fixed proportion, law of law of fixed proportion, law of definite proportion, law of constant proportion. All are same thing. This law was given by a scientist whose name was Joseph Proust. He also did lots of experiment, and then after that he concluded that whenever he takes any compound from any source, does not matter what is the source of that substance, it always contains same elements in it, and the composition of that compound by weight of the constituent element, by mass of the constituent element, it's same. So since it does not matter that from which source substance was obtained or by what method that substance was made, but it used to always contain same constituent elements in it, and their composition by mass. That means their mass ratio in that compound was always fixed. That's why he gave the name of this law, that is law of fixed proportion, law of definite proportion, law of constant proportion. So the law states that when a compound is obtained from any source or obtained by any method or prepared by any method or prepared by any method, it contains same elements in it and composition of the elements by mass is fixed in the compound. So the law states that when a compound is obtained from any source or prepared by any method, it contains same elements in it, and composition of the elements by mass is fixed in the compound. The law states that when a compound is obtained from any source it contains same elements in it and ratio of the masses of constituent elements in the compound is fixed. Always same. Okay, this is law of fixed proportion, law of definite proportion, which was given by Joseph Proust. Now take one example to understand this. Example number 1. Suppose I obtain carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide I can make by reacting carbon with oxygen, so that I'll get carbon dioxide. Another way, you can burn anything, like wood you can burn, plastic you can burn, because all contains carbon. It will produce carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide may be obtained by heating calcium carbonate. By the thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate also you can get carbon dioxide. So it does not matter that how did you obtain that carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide you obtain by any method, by any source, does not matter. Carbon dioxide obtained from any method will contain always carbon and oxygen in it. That is fixed. So it will always contain carbon and oxygen in it, and ratio of carbon, suppose this is carbon dioxide, this is obtained from laboratory, this is obtained by burning wood, or this carbon dioxide is obtained by burning plastic. So from any source I have obtained, it does not matter. but it will always contain carbon and oxygen in it, that is fixed. Plus the ratio of masses of carbon and oxygen in the compound will be always fixed. Like if I take here, then carbon's mass is 12 gram and mass of oxygen is 32 gram. If I take the ratio, then it will become here 4 3s are 12 and 4 8s are. So 3:8 ratio by mass. By mass I'm saying, so it could be in grams both the masses, it could be in kilogram both the masses, it could be in milligram both the masses. So by mass its ratio is always 3:8. Means whenever you will take 3 grams, whenever you obtain carbon dioxide from any source, it will always contain carbon and oxygen in it, and carbon is to oxygen's mass. If you find out, you will always find that will be coming as 3:8. So if you take the ratio of masses of carbon and oxygen in carbon dioxide, it will always come as 3:8. Okay, so this is fixed, always it is constant. That's why the name was given law of definite proportion. Okay, so that's it about the law of definite proportion. We'll see one more example. So if I see second example, so that is example number 2. Example number 2, I am trying to obtain water from different sources. So water I can obtain from lab. Once again, in laboratory you can react oxygen and hydrogen to make water. So this is coming from lab, laboratory method. This H2O molecule I took from sea. You can take H2O molecule from your tap. You can take H2O from rainwater. So they are obtained from different sources. It does not matter from which source water was obtained. It will always contain same elements in it. Water molecule will always contain hydrogen and oxygen in it. If I take the ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen in the two compounds, then let's find how much it is coming. So this will be here 2 gram is to 16 gram. Gram will get cancelled. So I'll be getting 1:8 gram. So by mass. So ratio of masses of oxygen and hydrogen is to oxygen, will be always 1:8. It does not matter on the source, on the method from which water was obtained. So you will always get mass of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 1:8 by mass. This is called law of definite proportion. Okay, once again I tell what is the law. The law says that you will always obtain any compound from any source, but you will find same elements present in it, and the ratio of the masses of the two elements, or whatever 3 elements are there, that could be 3 elements. So ratio of the masses of the constituent elements in the compound will be always fixed. That's never going to change. This is called law of definite proportion. Now we'll see third law, that is law of multiple proportion. Law of multiple proportion was given by John Dalton. So let's see what is the law of multiple proportion. Law of multiple proportion. The law states that when two elements combines to form more than one product, when two elements combines to form more than two products, more than one products, then different masses of one element, then different masses of one element, different masses of one element which combines with fixed mass of other elements, bear simple ratio with one another. The law states that when two elements combines to form more than one products, then different masses of one element which combines with fixed mass of other element bear simple ratio with one another. This is called law of multiple proportion, which was given by John Dalton. The law simply tells you that whenever two elements are combining and it can form more than one product. So if you take the mass of one element to be constant and then check the mass of other element in the two compound and take the ratio of these two masses, take the ratio of these two masses, you will always find that the ratio of these two masses will be always a simple whole number ratio. Simple ratio it will be coming. Simple ratio, I mean that it may be a ratio of 1:2, 1:3, 2:3, 3:5, like that the ratio will be. Let's example. Let's see one example. Example 1. Let's see that when carbon reacts, then it forms two compounds, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. So let's see that it is one carbon monoxide and one carbon dioxide I am taking. So here two elements which combines with each other. When two elements combine, so here carbon and oxygen are the two elements which are taken, which are combining with each other. So when these two elements are combining with each other, carbon and oxygen, it forms one compound, carbon monoxide. The other compound is carbon dioxide. Now I have to see the ratio of masses of oxygen in the two compounds by keeping the mass of carbon to be same in both the compounds. So carbon's mass is here 12 gram and here oxygen's mass is 32 gram. Mass of carbon is here 12 gram, mass of oxygen is here, sorry, this is 16 gram, only one oxygen, atomic mass of oxygen is 16 gram. Mass of oxygen is here 16, but there are two atoms of oxygen, so it will be here 32 gram. So here mass of carbon is fixed in the two compounds. Mass of oxygen is fixed, mass of carbon in the two compound is fixed, that is 12 gram in both the compounds. So now forget about carbon. Now see the mass of oxygen in the two compounds. Mass of oxygen in carbon monoxide is 16 gram and mass of oxygen in carbon dioxide is 32 gram. So 16:32 I have to do it here. So ratio of masses of oxygen, ratio of masses of oxygen in the two compounds is what? 16:32. That is nothing but 1:2, which is a simple ratio. This was only told by John Dalton. So John Dalton said that whenever two elements will combine to form more than one products, then different masses of one element which will combine with fixed mass of other element will bear simple whole number ratio or simple ratio with one another. So we have to keep one of the elements mass fixed in the two compounds, then we have to compare the mass of other element in the two compound. You will always find that the ratio of these masses will be always a simple ratio. Simple ratio means 1:2 ratio, it could be 2:3 ratio, 2:5 ratio, like that the ratios will be coming, 3:4 ratio, like that it will be coming. So this is your law of multiple proportion. Law of reciprocal proportion. Law of reciprocal proportion was given by Richter. Richter stated that whenever two elements combines with a fixed mass of third element, then masses of these two elements in these two different compound will be either in the same ratio or there could be a sub multiple of the masses when these two elements will combine with each other. This law was called law of reciprocal proportions. I first write the law, then we'll go ahead, we'll see some examples. When two elements reacts with fixed mass of third element. Reacts with fixed mass of third element. Then masses of these two elements in the two products will be in the same ratio or a simple multiple or submultiple of the ratio of the masses of the two elements, when they react with each other, Okay, so this is the law which is called law of reciprocal proportion. So when two elements reacts with fixed mass of third element, then masses of these two elements in the two products will be in the same ratio or a simple multiple or submultiple of the ratio of the masses of the two elements when they react with each other. So let's see one example to understand this. Okay, let's see one example to understand this. What is that? If I suppose that I'm reacting sulfur with hydrogen and with oxygen. So when it will react, sulfur and oxygen will react, then they are going to form here sulfur dioxide. When sulfur and hydrogen will react, then they will form here hydrogen sulfide. Now if I see the mass of hydrogen in this compound, this will be here 2 gram, mass of sulfur is 12 gram. Here if I see mass of sulfur, that is 32 gram, and mass of oxygen is 32 gram. So mass of sulfur in the two compound is, it's a 32 gram. So mass of sulfur in the two compounds are same, that is 32 here also, 32 here also. So third element I have assumed here sulfur, and sulfur's mass in the two compound is same, that is 32 each. Now I am going to see it here, mass of hydrogen here and mass of oxygen over here. So mass of hydrogen is here 2 gram, mass of oxygen over here, it is here 32 gram. Now let's react hydrogen and oxygen. So if I let hydrogen and oxygen to react, then it will form here water. Now I have to find out mass of hydrogen and oxygen in this compound. So mass of hydrogen and oxygen in this two compound will be 2 gram is to 16 gram. So if I take the ratio, it will be 1:8 gram, 1:8 by mass it is here, and ratio of the mass of masses of hydrogen and oxygen in compounds, that is in H2S and SO2 will be how much? It will be hydrogen sulfide's mass is here 2 gram hydrogen's mass, and mass of oxygen is 32 gram. So it is 1:16, and here it is 1:8. So can you see that 1:8 and 1:16? So oxygen's mass is here double in comparison to the mass of oxygen in water. So this only the law is stating, that whether it will be like 8 2s are 16 or it could be 8 3s are 24, like that. So this will be always a multiple or sub-multiple. Okay, so you can see it here 1:16. This is 1:8. So sometimes it may come same ratio 1:8 in this also, 1:8 in this also. Sometimes it will come as a multiple. So 1:16 and 1:8 if you compare, then here the oxygen's mass is here double in, because it is 1:16. Here it is 8 and here it is 16. So it will be a multiple only. The law is also stating the same thing, that you will always have either the same ratio of the masses of hydrogen and oxygen when they will react with each other, or there could be a multiple or sub-multiple of the mass ratio. So here 1:16 and 1:8 we are getting it here, which is proving the law. Okay, so 1:16 and 1:8 is proving the law. We'll see one more example. Let's take carbon. Carbon is reacting with oxygen. Okay, and carbon is reacting with hydrogen. Let's see what compound it is forming. So when carbon will react with hydrogen, it will form here CH4 molecule. Here the ratio of mass of carbon and hydrogen. Carbon's mass is here 12 gram and mass of hydrogen is here 4 gram. Here if I take carbon and oxygen, it forms here carbon dioxide. Mass of carbon is 12 gram and oxygen's mass is here 32 gram. So here if I take the ratio of mass of hydrogen and oxygen in the two compounds, so ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen in the two compounds is equal to 32. Here mass of carbon is supposed to be same, so it is 12 gram in each of the compounds. Remember that. So mass of hydrogen is here 4 and mass of oxygen is here 32. If I take the ratio, it will be 1:8. When hydrogen reacts with oxygen, then it forms water. So it will form here water. Now I have to check the ratio of mass of hydrogen and oxygen in water. Ratio of masses of H2 and O2 in water. So that will be equal to here 2:16, that is equal to 1:8. Now here it is coming same 1:8 here also, 1:8 here also. But I'm not saying that it will be coming always 1:8, 1:8 only. What I'm saying that it might have come 1:16, 1:24, 1:4, like that they will be coming. So it will be always a simple multiple. Okay, ratio will be always a simple multiple. This is called law of reciprocal proportion. So that's it about it. Now we'll see the concept of equivalent weight or equivalent mass. Okay, in chemistry, equivalent weight and equivalent mass both are same thing. Not like in physics that here weight will be in Newton. When I say weight, that means mass only. So mass and weight in chemistry it's same. Both are same thing. So now we'll see the equivalent weight concept or equivalent mass concept. Equivalent mass was actually needed because of this law of reciprocal proportion only. Law of reciprocal proportion nowadays not taught in CBSE. So, but the concept of law of reciprocal proportion is only used in equivalent weight. So equivalent weight, when we are going to find it out, so that came actually in existence due to law of reciprocal proportion. So nowadays reciprocal proportion is only gone and only equivalent weight concept is told to everyone, only that is studied now. So what is equivalent weight? Equivalent weight. This is the weight. If I say the definition, this is the weight of any element which combines with 1 gram of hydrogen or 35.5 gram of chlorine or 8 gram of oxygen. So the weight of an element, which combines or displaces 1 gram of hydrogen or 35.5 gram of chlorine or 8 gram of oxygen is called equivalent weight of the substance. In some cases, you may say that equivalent weight is the mass of substance divided by the number of electrons it loses or gains or it shares. So in one more way we can define it, but this is not a proper definition. Proper definition is this only what I have already written. Okay, so we can also say equivalent weight, in other words, equivalent weight of an element is equal to mass of an element which can lose or gain 1 electron, actually 1 mole of electrons. Okay, so you can also say that equivalent weight is equal to molar weight upon number of electrons gained or lost. Okay, so this is your equivalent. Some examples of equivalent weight. So example 1. If I have been asked that what is equivalent weight of sulfur, so what I'll do, I'll take 1 sulfur or I'll take 1 mole of sulfur, and then I'll see that this sulfur is reacting with how many grams of hydrogen or oxygen. So I should only know any of the compound in which hydrogen and sulfur are present. So I know one compound of sulfur, that is H2S. So sulfur's molar weight is 32 gram. But 32 gram of sulfur reacts with 2 atoms of hydrogen. Or you can say that 1 mole of sulfur, that is 32 gram, reacts with 2 moles of hydrogen, that is 2 grams of hydrogen. So equivalent weight of sulfur will be equal to 32 divided by 2, that is number of hydrogen, that will be equal to 16 gram per equivalent. Similarly, if you want to find out, you already know that oxygen's equivalent weight is 8 gram, what is given over here, and chlorine's equivalent weight is 35.5 gram. So you have to find out any element whose equivalent weight you want to find it out. You have to find out that there should be at least 1 compound known of that element with hydrogen or chlorine or with oxygen. Okay, so you have to find out that there should be at least 1 compound in which that particular element is bonded with either hydrogen or chlorine, or it should be bonded with oxygen, or in some reaction hydrogen or chlorine or oxygen is replaced by that element. So we'll see that how many gram is being replaced, we can find it out. So equivalent weight is the mass of the substance which reacts with exactly 1 gram of hydrogen or 35.5 gram of chlorine or 8 gram of oxygen. Let's find equivalent weight of aluminium. So example 2. Now aluminium, so AlCl3 it forms here. So I know the compound AlCl3. In this compound, one aluminium atom is present and three chlorine atoms are present. So I will do one thing. I'll try to find out that what mass of aluminium will react with exactly 35.5 gram of chlorine. That we need to find it out. So equivalent weight of aluminium will be equal to, aluminium's atomic weight is 27 gram. So 27, I'll write it here, upon number of chlorine atoms, so that is 3, so that we are 9 gram per equivalent. So equivalent weight of aluminium becomes here 9 gram. So what you are supposed to find it out, that what mass of an element reacts, combines, or it displaces exactly 1 gram of hydrogen, or 35.5 gram of chlorine, or 8 gram of oxygen. That we call its equivalent weight. Now you will say how it is related with the reciprocal proportion that you just said. It is related with reciprocal proportion. Because of that, this equivalent weight concept came later on. Now reciprocal proportion is only gone and only equivalent weight is used nowadays. So I am telling you in brief about that. See what is happening. In reciprocal proportion, they were saying that whenever two elements will combine, then their mass ratio in the two compound will be either same or it will be a simple multiple. So of the masses, it will be a simple multiple of the masses when the two elements will react with each other. Now here the problem is what? Whenever aluminium is going to react, then it will react with chlorine. It will form here 9 gram of aluminium will be always reacting with 35.5 gram of chlorine. So whatever compound it is forming doesn't matter. So this becomes here aluminium's equivalent weight. You will always find in any compound, aluminium will be reacting with anything. It will be a multiple of this 9. It may be like 1 times of this 9, 2 times of 9, or 3 times of 9 will be always present over there, or 4 times of 9. That I am not saying what mass. So this is its equivalent weight. So whenever aluminium will react with any element, doesn't matter, its mass will be in that compound will be always a multiple of 9. Whenever chlorine will react in any compound, chlorine is present in any compound, its mass in that compound will be always a multiple of 35.5. Oxygen will react with any element, does not matter which element is there, its mass is going to be always a multiple of 8, because that becomes its equivalent weight. With that mass, it can lose 1 mole of electron, or it can combine with 1 hydrogen atom or 1 chlorine atom, like that. So in any compound, mass of hydrogen will be always a multiple of 1. In any compound, mass of chlorine will be always a multiple of 35.5. In any compound, mass of oxygen will be always multiple of 8. And similarly, when you combine, when you use these formulae and find out any element's equivalent weight, you will find in any compound that element's 1 equivalent weight, or 2 equivalent weight, or 3 equivalent weight, or 4, 5, or any multiple of equivalent weight will be present in that. And that is why your law of reciprocal proportion holds good, because that tells you that whenever two elements combines to form, whenever two elements reacts with the third element's fixed mass to form two different compounds, then masses of these two elements in the two compounds is always in a particular ratio or particular submultiple of a ratio of the masses when these two elements will combine with each other. So that's because their equivalent weight is always present in that. There may be 1 equivalent weight, 2 equivalent weight, or 3 equivalent weight will be present in that. And because of that, you get that multiple law of reciprocal proportion to be proved. Okay, so this is your law of reciprocal proportion, and from that only we had got the concept of equivalent weight. That's it for today. Bye bye everyone. Just watch my video and learn something. Don't waste time. Take care, stay safe. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching.